Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user SimilarDig2585. Am I the a-hole for putting my foot down and charging rent when my stepdad started trying to tell me what to do in my own house? My stepdad, 55 male, has been married to my mom, 52 female, about 5 years. They were doing alright, but hit hard times and eventually had their house foreclosed on. So they moved in with me, 27 female. They've been living here for about 2 or 3 months now, and it's been going okay until last weekish. Also, my stepdad has been working a part-time job but has not had full-time employment since then. Anyways, I feel like some of the issues started since I've been on vacation, which I have for 2 weeks. Sometime during the first few days, he saw me heading out and made some sort of comments regarding my outfit. He said the shorts were too short and that I should reconsider. We fought about it back and forth until I just decided to leave because I was tired of reasoning with him anymore. He's been making a lot of these comments in various times and various different ways. For example, skirt or shorts are too short, your belly is showing, etc, etc. I've told him to stop and he says okay and then starts up again. I can't say I understand. I think the straw that broke the camel's back for me was when I had my boyfriend over. I've told my mom about it as well, and she said that she doesn't support it, but that this is a dispute him and I need to solve. My boyfriend stayed till maybe 10:30, 11 p.m. and left. My stepdad didn't say anything while he was here, but he emotionally imploded after he left. He said that it's wrong to have guys over this late and to be in my room with them alone. He said that we don't stand for these things in our house. I responded to him that he can stand for whatever he wants in his house, maybe in a hypothetical our house, but he can't tell me what to do in my house. I told him that the days of him making unsolicited comments at me need to end. On top of that, I'd told him that from here on out I'm charging $400 a month rent with a month-to-month agreement. On top of that, if he continues to make comments, this agreement is over and he'll be out of the house as soon as I am able to make it happen. My mom was upset at first about it, but I was able to calm her down. First, I told her that she told me that it was up to us how to solve this dispute, and this is how I've decided to solve it. Secondly, I told her that he's been staying a while and starting to charge rent would make my life a bit easier for as long as he stays. She was a bit more amenable to that second point. Stepdad is just overall quite pissy. He hasn't told my mom or I his thoughts on the arrangement since he yelled at me about it the night of our big argument, but he is just generally ignoring me when he can. No, OP, you're not the a-hole and good for you for setting that strong boundary. Our house. Who the hell does he think he is? He started off as a guest. I don't know how long he's staying, but you might want to check the law on where you live because he might be a tenant now. So actually charging him $400 a month, I'd say it's on the really cheap end considering you're paying for everything. Or are they contributing in any way to groceries and utilities? You didn't mention any of that, but I would assume not. Also, he's your stepdad and has been married to your mom for 5 years. It's not like he knew you as a little kid and saw you grow up and was some sort of a dad to you. No. Which makes it just more ridiculous because you're a 27-year-old adult. Your parents shouldn't even be telling you what to wear, let alone him. We don't stand for these things in our house. What the hell, man? Honestly, that made me laugh. I had to make that take like 3 times because I just couldn't read it with a straight face. Anyways, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Concretism says, I realize his ego is shot by not being able to provide for himself, but choosing to begin parenting a grown woman he didn't raise is creepy as F. His comments are only about your body. Why is this how he is exerting control? Why does your mother choose to see herself as not involved when she is why he is in your home? I think you had a mild reaction, not the a-hole. Super Sherry 813 says, not the a-hole. I think your boyfriend needs to come over a lot more. I think you need to assert your dominance over your home each and every day. If they get too comfortable, they won't be incentivized to get their own place. And Opie responds, that's actually a good idea. Maybe he should move in because if the threat of eviction doesn't stop him, maybe seeing my boyfriend will. Boyfriend hasn't been over since the incident, but he hasn't made any comments on my clothes at all, so maybe he's improving. Or maybe he just doesn't want to get evicted, who knows? Fiesta Fan 73 says, he's acting like the dad of a teenager, and not only are you not a teenager, he is not even your dad, nor is he in his house. This is a great solution. I think you need to start talking with them about their plans to move back out on their own. This can clearly not be a permanent situation, not the a-hole. And Opie responds, true, I don't think it's planned to be permanent by anybody, but my mom says my stepdad is like maybe 3 to 4 months away from securing something permanent and moving out on his own. One of the things he said when I charged the rent was that I'm making it harder for him to afford his own place and get on with his life, but I think $400 a month while he figures it out is fair, especially given we're in a high cost of living area. And Odd Task 8211 says, not the a-hole. When I was 22, my parents came to visit. I was sitting in the living room with my feet on the coffee table. My mom, a wonderful person, said, if that was my coffee table, you wouldn't have your feet on it. I said, good thing it's not your coffee table. She never said another word about what I did in my home. Your stepdad needs to understand he doesn't get to make rules in your home, period. Additional information from Opie's comments. I was initially thinking of evicting them as soon as possible, but I figured that given that he's been chill for months, I don't need to go nuclear right away. My idea with charging the rent is that to an extent it's a punishment, but also a sort of hint that it's my house. I'm hoping stepdad becomes less pissy about it and agrees. I did mention to him that he's lucky I don't evict him now, which he really didn't like. He hasn't imploded over my choice of clothing yet, and I've worn a crop top and shorts combo for like 2 days now. The worst he's done is give me a dirty look yesterday, but that's it. If he starts commenting about my clothes, friends, or boyfriend, or anything that is my business, I'll evict him as soon as possible. He hasn't made any comments since, and my mom says he's planning to pay the first rent soon, so I think I'm good for now. Also, I looked it up, and apparently he has tenants' rights anyways, so the best thing is charge rent going forward. I'll have a hell of a time getting him out either way, but I think asking for the rent helps make a statement that it's my place and disincentivizes future comments. I do feel like stepdad is making progress towards leaving on his own, but damn, it's slow progress. Finally, my mom. I think she just didn't want to get in the middle of it. She expressly stayed out of it when it was just comments about my clothes. Said it was my issue to resolve with him. This was before he full-on imploded, and my mom felt that him commenting on my clothes, it's something we could resolve. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, that charging rent is a good way to start, but that she needs to try to work on getting them out as soon as possible, and apparently OP has a plan to do that. So now, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. So I talked to a lawyer friend shortly after making that post. Apparently, my state does indeed have laws giving tenancy after staying for a bit. They are legal tenants as it stands, unfortunately. So I decided on a month-to-month agreement where stepdad pays $400 a month. On top of that, I felt a few punitive measures were fair, at least temporarily. I placed an 8:30 p.m. curfew on him for anything not work-related. I also disallowed him from staying in the common area anytime I have anyone over, period. I also placed the majority of the chores in the house as his responsibility as well. For instance, as long as he stays, he is responsible for cleaning the place entirely. Absolutely every room in the house, no exceptions. Living room, any bedrooms, bathrooms, including shower, toilets and sinks, dishes, you get the picture. Of course, I can't force him to do anything, but he won't stay in my house for long if he doesn't. I know it's a bit mean for sure, but I felt there had to be some punishment for his actions. Mainly, I'd say that any further comments, non-payment of rent, or violating his punitive rules or chore requirements would result in me not renewing the month-to-month lease and an eviction as fast as I possibly can. For now, we've been living with this arrangement for a few days and he's paid his first month. He hasn't made any off-putting comments or anything like that. If anything, he doesn't talk to me basically at all. My mom is still talking to me though. She agreed that she should intervene if and when he says something again, but of course, hopefully, nothing happens again. She did tell me that stepdad told her that the $400 a month was a lot given his current income from his part-time job and that he finds doing all the chores tiring, but I told her it was final there and now. Also, my boyfriend has been able to come over when he wants to without me being troubled for it. He already never bothered my boyfriend directly, but now he kind of just cold shoulders him and I both. My boyfriend doesn't care and finds it amusing, though, so it's fine. Either way, I'm not going to mind him. The way I see it, he can keep his comments to himself, do his chores and follow the rules and stay. Or else leave as soon as I can make him. It's a simple choice he can make. Well, OP, it sounds like a fair deal considering where you live and the fact that he's just paying $400 for rent. And to think all of this could have been avoided if he wasn't entitled and just kept his thoughts to himself, understanding that he was a guest and that you were doing them a huge favor. Anyways, here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I Overreacting? And it's by user FarAstronaut8024. Am I overreacting? My best friend's boyfriend smacked my butt. I am currently in my room writing this while everyone else is in the kitchen or living room and I don't know what to do. My large group of friends, all 24-25 female, always rent out a house for a week this month because 4 of us have birthdays this month. This year, I happen to be the only single one in my friend group. I get along with all of my friends' boyfriends, so even though I'm like a ninth wheel, I haven't really felt left out or weird this whole time until today. One of my closest friends, Sarah, 25 female, has an older boyfriend. He's 36. He's a nice enough guy. They've been together since around this time last year, and I've gotten to know him a little since, and never got any bad vibes. Well, this morning, I'm in the living room doing my workout. I am a very dedicated fitness person, so I work out most days. This is something me and this guy have in common because he's a personal trainer. He walked into the living room while I was in the middle of my stretches and warm-up, says good morning, and we chat, as I'm still working out, about some fitness stuff. The convo is winding down while I simultaneously go into a forward fold. As he walks past and says, okay, well, keep up the good work. He smacks my butt and walks back to his room. I immediately stop everything and go into stunned silence. This was hours ago. I don't know what to do. I am horrified that he thinks that it's okay. He is a trainer, so I understand maybe he was trying to be encouraging, but what? I don't think it was meant in a sexual way, but I am very uncomfortable now. Do I tell her? Do I tell my other friends? I don't want to ruin the trip, but I feel so icky now, like I am hiding something. Well, OP, I don't think you'd be overreacting in the sense that he did something that made you uncomfortable. But the first thing I would do if I was you is tell him about it. Like, dude, you crossed a line. That's not cool. I didn't feel comfortable. Please don't ever do it again. If you didn't feel like he was being hyperly sexual or predatory or anything like that, then just tell him, expect an apology of course, and then you can move on. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. I watch too much TV says it's not okay. A lot of personal trainers are like that and are very comfortable with a butt pat and physical contact that's a bit more with their clients or fellow gym people. But that doesn't excuse him or give him the right to do that to you. I wouldn't make a big scene, but would have a conversation to set the boundaries. There is a small chance it wasn't malicious, but he needs to be made aware. Forsaken Trade 6915 says, my suggestion? Say something, because if you keep it a secret, this 36-year-old man is going to think you are okay with it, or in general is okay to do it because he is a personal trainer, so he might think, I can do it whenever I want, and that's not okay. Stinky Little Frog Bitch says, tell your friend or him that it made you uncomfortable. Intent versus impact. Even if he didn't mean anything by it, it still made you uncomfortable, and that's okay. Tell him it made you uncomfortable and not to do it anymore. It's okay to place boundaries. And no region but your mom says, maybe it's just because I'm not a woman, but in my mind, that kind of sounds like a good game slap. If it happened to me, I wouldn't think anything of it, but it could be considered sexual assault, so I would definitely at least let him know that you were uncomfortable about it, and probably your friends as well. Opie's Edit. Thanks for the reply so far, guys. I just wanted to add this in case it's relevant. The only thing that has ever made me slightly uncomfortable about him in the past is that he's been pretty persistent about working out with him as a trainer every time I see him, and I always decline because 1, I can't afford it, and 2, I like to work out alone. I always thought he was just trying to drum up business, which could still be true. Also, he's made jokes about me being bisexual, but that's kind of par for the course in my friend group, since I'm what they love calling their token half gay. I think I'm just gonna be like, hey man, you probably didn't mean anything by it, but if you could not touch my butt in the future, that would be great. And try not to make a big deal out of it. What do you all think? The community agrees that OP is not overreacting, that what that guy did was not okay, and she should tell him about it and set boundaries. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thanks to everyone who responded yesterday. I honestly didn't want to text my mom or anything because I didn't want to make a big deal out of nothing, but everyone seemed to be on a consensus that I should at least mention to him that it made me uncomfortable so it didn't happen again. I do just want to say for prosperity, the smack was definitely more than a pat, but less than a slap, if that makes sense. Harder than if you were to say to pat someone on the back, but he wasn't leaving a handprint or anything like that. Anyway, last night I went outside to smoke a cig, and he came out with me, and I tried to bring it up as casually as I could. I just said, hey man, I know you probably didn't mean anything by it, but it's been bothering me and I just want to clear the air. I didn't particularly like when you patted, I said patted because I didn't want to insinuate anything, my butt yesterday while I was working out. I know you were probably just trying to be encouraging, but it made me a little uncomfortable because I have personal space issues. I don't really, but I have to spend another 2 days on this trip with him and I didn't want to make him feel bad. He apologized profusely. He said he didn't think when he was doing it and was so sorry if he made me uncomfortable. I guess this morning or late last night he ended up telling Sarah, and she also apologized to me this morning and seemed really mad, but I told her not to worry too much about it. Whether or not he was actually being creepy remains to be seen. He did seem pretty genuine in his apology, and I doubt he would voluntarily tell his girlfriend if he was nefarious in nature. That being said, no one should touch your body if you don't want them to. Period. The end. I'm glad it wasn't anything more than a stupid mistake, but it could have been more. Glad I said something just to clear the air. Well, it'll be good for you. In my opinion, that's the adult way to go about things. Somebody crossed a boundary that you're not okay with, and instead of making it into something that everybody should have an opinion on, you went to the person you had a problem with, expressed the problem, told them about the boundary, and they apologized. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a really quick mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Confederacy of Dunces. Wife wants verbal confirmation that I'm listening. You got it, dear. My wife and I went out to lunch for Valentine's Day, which is much better than dinner for V-Day. The food was tasty and I was feeling great and full. While driving, I was just more quiet and content, and she was talking up a storm. Suddenly, she stops and says, "Are you actually listening to me?" I affirmed that I was and repeat the main points of the last 10 minutes to her. You know I like it when people actually affirm that they're listening throughout conversation. I saw my opportunity and quickly agreed. Then she started talking again, and I'd made sure to pick times that were slightly off to say, uh-huh. After the fourth time, she became exasperated. Say uh-huh one more time. And of course, I did, and then sat there with my crap-eating grin. I'm sad to say I lost the resulting tickling war in a quilting store parking lot. Well, Beep, you did exactly what she wanted. She didn't say the timing had to be absolutely right, and besides, it ended up in a tickle war. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.